Readily agreed. Thank you very much and welcome.
Hi, good evening, everyone. The sounds, yeah, yeah. And I think I didn't dream one day that I'll be talking to all of you in a beautiful church setting like this. And I think our dear Pastor Jacob Bachchan so nicely in the prayer that he made gave an introduction to what we wanted to cover this evening about stewardship and management of resources and how do we manage our money? Let's be honest, not many of us are comfortable in a group setting to talk about money. Some of us, even on a one-on-one basis also, we'd like to talk about everything but money because it's held very close to our heart. And especially in our context and the community, we don't like to even endorse ideas to deal with money because it's not a pleasant conversation. But this afternoon, the little time that we have, what I'd like to do is, talk about this small, important, subtle things about money and how they play a role in our day-to-day lives, in our work, in our business, not to forget even in our church, and how it plays a vital role. And I hope that by the time we leave this evening, you would have some bit of knowledge and information that you can go home with, so that we could all be better stewards of money and maybe make better decisions as far as money is concerned. Now, normally, in a more corporate setup, I'm very engaging with the audience because nobody wants to see a presentation or hear just one person speaking for 45 minutes to 1 hour. But we'll still try a small exercise, if you will please give me the liberty to do so. Anyway, we know we're going to talk about money, it's about finance, and in the church we shouldn't feel uncomfortable about money because here we come not only to offer our worship but we also give our money. So it's a nice place to talk about money in the church. And in some churches they overdo it where they ask you the only reason you come to church is to give money. So we had those experiences. But even though it may be a little difficult for some of you from at the back to give me answers, but we'll start with our dear Achans. It's a random question that I'm going to ask, and I'm first going to give you the conditions for my question. You think about your answer, but don't change your answer, but give it just spontaneously. If I say the word money, what is the first thought that comes to your mind? We'll start with you, sir. Okay, daily requirements. Security. Ma'am? Security. Sir? Sorry? Day to day, okay. For you? Earning more. For you? Means to an end. Luxury. Currency note, okay. Power. Mr. Danny, what does money mean to you? Don't count money now. Happiness. Luxury. Yes, doctor. Children's education. Okay, worldly things. Behind you? Very good answer. Always ladies give the correct answers. Need of life. Okay, we come right back, ma'am. Yes. Okay, savings and investments. Ma'am, you? Day to day. Okay. Empowerment. Sense of security. Yes. Something of value. Yes. Expenses. Okay. Savings. Okay. Day-to-day needs. And right. Same thing or day-to-day needs? Okay. Now, the reason we do this kind of a social reason is all of us have a different perspective of money. And I'll be, maybe break this down further here. For some of us, you must have caught a little unaware about actually what does money mean to me. All of you are kind to actually give me an answer. There are few people when you suddenly put them in a spot and tell them, what does money mean to you? They actually do not have an answer. And so what happens, usually the people who do not have an answer will try and pick the answer that someone else has given because they want to sound cool and correct. But when a question like this is asked and you're not come prepared for it, the general tendency is to give the answer that someone else said and you felt it is right, and you suddenly added up that in your mind. Why are we talking about money this evening is precisely this, that some of us sometimes are not prepared. Even when life hits you with real day-to-day expenses, education, to do the ministry, to build a new church, to upgrade the systems in the church, for everything we need money. If you want to live healthy, you need money to eat healthy and get medication. If you want education, you need money for day-to-day expenses, for luxury, everything you need money. But as Christians, sometimes we use that one verse in the Bible that is so often misquoted. The love of money is the root of all kind of evil. Now, while that verse is true, but we sometimes take that literally, saying that I shouldn't love money because if I love money, it's a root of all kind of evil, it is sin. Now, it is true that if you excessively love money, it is an evil. But what I want to help you understand this is that there is a way that we as proper stewards can handle our money better. Now, before I go there, we also have to set aside a nice foundation to say that money is not same in everybody's hand. If you give money to the Achan here, he'll figure out how to do service to the needy. He may figure out what to do from the church, from a mission-oriented work, or how to help the people who do not have the money. If you give it to an enterprising person, he'll figure out, like what ma'am says, to create a multiplier effect and build the money grow. If you give it to a person who's in need to pay school fees and college fees, he'll take it and go. If you give it to a person who's got bad habits, he'll further fuel his bad habits. Now, whatever those bad habits are, I'm not being judgmental about it, but if you give money to the person who's already in a situation, he'll only use that money to further fuel that situation. Whether you give it to a priest or a terrorist, money doesn't change, but the outcome of the money changes dramatically. We all know the 9/11 incident. You know, you can't put posters to hunt down terrorists. So what did the government do? They came out with a beautiful law called the PMLA, Prevention of Money Laundering Activities. Under that law, they're not worried about whether you're a terrorist or not. They're worried where your money is flowing, how your money is flowing. They know if I have to catch somebody, I only have to track his source and trail of money. If I can track your source and trail of money, we caught you. You can't catch a thief, but you can catch his source of money and therefore forbid him from being a thief or a terrorist. The immediate path that leads us to think is, so now if money is itself not powerful, but what I do with money becomes powerful, which means we need to understand the forces of money. Now, there are people here who say, Santosh, no, I am at home, I am a student, I am a housewife, or I am already retired. I don't want to worry about money. I want to bring it to your knowledge that whether we think about money or not, whether we think money is the root of all kind of evil or not, money in itself has got its own inertia, its own characteristics, and the way it operates. Now, even though we can be cut off from the society at large, cut off from the economy, most of us may not look at business channels or read those orangish pink papers to understand what is the state of the economy. It is still affecting you and me. Now, there are two very easy ways. I mean, we can put this into context to say, how does it affect you and me? Number one, it affects you and me with inflation. Now, inflation is one of the biggest reasons why the value of our money keeps going down. Now, I'm not going to ask you questions, but in the interest of time, if I were to give you the answer myself about what inflation is, it is rise in costs of goods and services that you and I need for essential living. In fact, most of you said the answer for money is to make goods and needs met or for day-to-day living. Now, the challenges of the city living is that day-to-day living is becoming expensive for anybody. Now, whether you live in your big mansions or we are living in humble homes, the cost of living is by and large stressful on everybody because things are becoming expensive by the day. And I'm sure, again, if I ask each one of you how 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, how things were affordable, and today it's difficult to afford, we all know the answer. Everything is expensive. The first lesson that we learn is that money is got power to depreciate, or it is always depreciating. Now, that is because of inflation. Now, most of us are aware of this side of the money. What we're not aware is the other side of the money. So now to explain this side and that side, let's use a normal coin. Now all of us can pull out a coin from our pocket or just imagine a coin. Now the coin has got two sides, the heads and the tails. Now the head is the negative force, which is inflation, which is pulling down the value of your money. Now remember, whether you're a student or whether you're retired, whether you're clergy or whether you're a choir person, that inflation is common for everybody. It doesn't separate you. Even if you're not a Christian, it doesn't separate you. That effect of money is for all of us. The rich and the poor, the haves and the have-nots, irrespective of our religious background. We need to first of all understand that that is something that we have to work against. Otherwise, that is automatically working against us. Number one, inflation. Number two, we can also make money grow. How many of you like this idea that money can grow? It can grow, right? Now in the parable of the talents, and I don't have to preach, we all know what happens to the people who hid the money versus the people who made the money productive. The minute you put money to work, you get multiplier effect like what the lady said. But the minute you think, I've got the money, it doesn't end there. In fact, you can put the first slide. After many years of experience, I've realized most of us are so fixated about earning money and income, we forget the outcome is more important than the money. Because if it was income, I earn that money and we go hide it. Like the parable of the talents. You know, today, many of us in this room also are like that one person who takes the money and like how he hid it in the ground. We do similar things like hiding it in bank FDs. I'm sorry if I touched a raw nerve there, but many people think that you take the money and go keep it safely in the bank deposit. At least when you want it, the money is back. But it defeats the purpose of the stewardship of making the money multiply. The second thing is, don't forget the first force, inflation. Now, we spoke about inflation. We know that money is just the income. What you and I do becomes the outcome of money. Now we take that money and we have the opportunity to make money grow. Now we all know making money grow is the best act of stewardship. Now sometimes just think about it. It's money, it's the resources we have, it's also the time that we have. So from a pure biblical perspective, you talk about your talent, you talk about your treasure, and you talk about your time. All of these can be used to make money grow. One of the most important takeaways from today's session I want to leave with you is that all of us, irrespective of our backgrounds, if we understand how money works, we can make our money grow. Now today when people pass by this road, they look at this beautiful church and say, wow, prime real estate, beautiful part of Bangalore, they must have had a lot of money. But when you think about it, when the church was made, when the church was formed, it was the sacrifices of those people to then decide to put up a facility, to have a piece of real estate like this. Today it's easy for anybody to calculate the net worth of this real estate. But what is the decision that people took to make this property is the one that created growth. So the next few minutes we look at how can we make our money grow, how can we beat inflation, and what are the other things that we need to know. So let's come back to our coin. On one side is inflation, which eats up the value of the money. On the other side is growth, which produces value appreciation for your money. Now, I'll just use one example here to explain to you how growth can impact all of us and our money and income ability. We take Bangalore, and let's go back to about 20-25 years ago. We were a regular small town. Bangalore is famously known as the pensioners' paradise, which it isn't anymore. But now we're known as the IT hub or the Silicon Valley or maybe other names like Pub City and Restaurant City and whatnot. But about 25 years ago, before the growth of the IT industry, right, there was a reasonable move in real estate. There was a reasonable business opportunity. The minute the IT industry came, there was growth. Growth in real estate, growth in business opportunities, growth in salaries, growth in jobs, growth in any sphere of activity. The city just took off. Now, thanks to that singular industry being responsible for so much of growth in Bangalore, so many millions and millions of jobs were created. In fact, for some of the people who knew that IT was growing and did not know one line of code or did not know what an IT company had to do, even they made money. There were restaurants that were serving food to the people that made money. There were cab drivers, there were bus suppliers who were ferrying people in and out from their offices making money. Like that, if you look at it, from real estate people selling homes for the people who came to Bangalore to stay, to the restaurant industry, to the travel industry, to the automobile industry, the whole economy grew. Which means growth is possible if one is aware that money and growth is in the same page. Most of us, we when someone asks us for money, say, what do you think, money grows on trees? It will go on tree if you've actually planted it. If you've not planted it, it will not grow. So the essence of what I'm trying to say in that coin example is, there is a power of money that pulls it down. There's a power of money that pushes it up. Our job is to ensure that the time value of our money is growing, and that keeps us in a level of being comfortable, being able to meet education needs, being able to meet children's needs, being able to manage even our own retirement, post-active income life. Now, when we speak about so much, the word that we use for growth in the common economics parlance or the finance world, we call it GDP. Now, many of us do not understand that GDP means the aggregate growth in the country. From the organized to the unorganized, to the listed to the unlisted, whether there's a growth in the church, whether there's a growth in the sports world, whether the growth in the film world, all this put together, combined, gives us growth. If you notice, why do people come to big cities like Bangalore? Not only Bangalore, you can take Chennai, you can take Calcutta, you can take Delhi and Bombay. It's because there is job. Why are there jobs here? Because the economy is productive. Why is the economics productive? Because there is growth. Growth produces value for your money. It appreciates the value for your money. Even if all of us in the room did not understand the IT industry growth, but if 20 years ago we bought a piece of property, some part of Bangalore, thanks to the boom in IT, thanks to the availability of money and the growth in real estate, all of us would have made a reasonably decent growth on our investment. Understanding this is the beginning that money can grow, and money will degrow if you do nothing. Money can grow if you do something. So now, having laid the foundation, we'll just quickly go ahead. Just third slide. Yeah, go forward. Stop. Go back there. Now when you look at this, this data, I know some of you will say is not true enough, but how things have become so expensive. Our 2030 predictions are happening today. If someone told you some time ago that you will be paying over 110 rupees per liter of fuel, it was difficult to believe. Today, you want to buy a good car, you need about 4-5 lakhs. You want to send someone to education, you will be spending so much. In fact, one thing that most of us will agree, for some of you who have done your masters and maybe even PhD, if you have grandkids at home, the whole cost of what education, the money you spent on your education, today you may spend only to just get them admission into school at Montessori or LKG. It just shows you the stark reality of how things have become expensive. Now don't forget, while education, healthcare, living and eating has become expensive, so are the opportunities, so are the ability for people to earn money. And today, it's not only in formal jobs of lawyer, doctor, engineer. Today, when you look at art world, you could be a photographer. It could be, I was the other day reading an article. There is this lady from Calcutta who helps women drape sari before the wedding. And she earns 1.5 lakh for every sari she drapes. So you notice that how things are changing. When the economy grows, the opportunity to make money just goes about exponentially. So what we are talking about here is we're not talking about luxuries. Most of you all said, right, the reason we need money is for day-to-day expenses, to meet expenses. These expenses are real. Now, whether we are earning or not, whether we are aware of money or not, we need our morning coffee, we need our lunch, we need to drive in the car, for which we need to use fuel. Once in a way, we need to travel out of town, we may need to stay in a hotel, we may need to travel in a flight. All these are getting expensive. If we are going to use our FD source, it will not help. If we are going to believe that our money that we have so safely protected, it won't, because two things are happening. Things are becoming expensive and the value of the money is remaining constant. What should happen is your money should also grow, and you should figure out how you can fight the growth of that thing. So let's just run into another slide. When we talk about the coin, right, there's a head and the tail. Most of us forget the rim of the coin. Taxes. Pay to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Reason why we forget taxes is, if you're a business person or if someone of you is working in the corporate world earning well, the irritation that you feel is that the TDS, the deductions, the advance tax, the GST, now these are real. It's the law of the land, it's the rule of the land, and our monies are needed for the development of the society. But we have to understand this tax is real. You know, some of you get pocket money or maybe even gifts from elders in the family, and you want to go and spend. Even the money that you got free and that you are going to spend will be incurring some form of direct or indirect taxes. Even if you want to go on a long drive, suddenly there's a toll, you have to pay some money to even go for a drive. You're paying taxes when you use petrol, you're paying taxes when you buy the car, you're paying taxes when you run on a toll. Most of us often ignore that taxes take away so much of our money. On one hand, inflation is putting your money down. On the other hand, taxes are stealing away your money. And third, things are becoming expensive. What do you do in a circumstance like that? The answer to this is to ensure your money is growing. And to make your money grow, we all need assets. What we all think is that if my income goes up, one day I will be happy. And I don't think that this congregation here thinks like that. There are many people waiting for that one beautiful day where they'll win the lottery ticket. And they don't have to worry about daughter's marriage, sending son outside the country, or taking care of the retirement, because we live with the mentality of winning lottery. Even to such people, I have my take. I said, if you want to win the lottery, at least you should buy the ticket. Many people don't even buy the lottery ticket and are hoping to win the lottery to make their financial goals met. Now, when I say this word financial goals, for some of you, this is like, what is Santosh talking right now on a Saturday evening in the church? Sometimes the points that we spoke right now, making ends meet, children's education, multiplying money, meeting important lifestyle goal need, these are all called financial goals. Sometimes the need to upgrade your car, the need to buy a home or need to refurbish a home, all these are financial goals. We've not termed it that way, we've not called it that way, but these are financial goals that you have to plan for in advance if you want to meet those needs. Now, coming back to our income story. Many youngsters, they feel, I'm earning, it's not enough, or just enough, or I'm earning and I cannot save. If I earn more, my problems are solved. If I win a lottery, my problems are solved. If I have maybe my inheritance from my grandfather, my problem is solved. That is the kind of a lazy approach many people think that can solve their financial problems. The answer is no. The way to make your money beat inflation and grow is to invest your money in assets that can give you return. Now I'll pause here and take a minute to say, what is an asset? Sometimes it's very loosely used. You'll say, no, I have enough assets in my house. My car is an asset. My grandfather's house is an asset. So let's define what an asset is. Number one, it has to be a good store of value. Right? Suppose, let's assume that I have some large amount of money, that is not a good store of value. It has to be put somewhere. So can it be converted into a bank savings FD, or can it be converted to gold, or can it be converted to real estate, or can it be converted to some form of investments? The first feature of an asset, it is a good store of value. The second, can an asset appreciate over a period of time? Because money has got the ability to grow. To grow your money has to be in assets. When an enterprising young man, young woman, old woman uses money to start a business, they're actually building assets. If the business grows, their money grows, their net worth grows. If you buy gold, if gold appreciates, your net worth appreciates. If you buy land, if your land appreciates, your assets appreciate, and therefore your net worth appreciates. Then, let's look at the third part. Is the asset giving you income? Sometimes, some people call car, some people call house, some people got some furniture they have as assets. But the exact opposite happening. To maintain that asset, you're spending more money. So you think you have an asset, but actually that asset is costing you to keep it, because there's expenses to it. So even if some assets need expense, the question that you have to ask yourself is, am I making more money in appreciation, more money in income than the cost of keeping that asset? Because sometimes for upkeep and maintenance, you have some cost that you'll incur. But it cannot be the cost of that asset. Maintenance is more than the income it generates or it appreciates. Lastly, an asset should be able to easily help you meet financial goals, or even be able to shift from one asset to another asset. For example, if we say, I have a lot of gold, can you use that gold, right, to help you to pay fees, to fund retirement, to buy a house, to buy a car? And how easy or difficult it is for you to shift from one asset to other asset. There are people who sell real estate and then invest in gold, sell gold and invest in mutual funds or shares, sell mutual funds or shares and then buy a piece of real estate. Now, this is called interoperability between assets, because all assets are not the same. Now, let's be quickly then rush into and say, just go ahead. Go forward. Still further. Go back now. So when we talk about assets, there are plenty. Wherever you can store your money, wherever your money can appreciate, wherever your money can give you income, or wherever you can take your money and use it from one form to another form. Now, the interesting part here is, we have to figure out, is it beating inflation? Is it growing more than the growth that is already available in the marketplace? Is it making me richer? So what does the parable of the talents say to the guy who hid the money? The answer given is, oh, you lazy servant, at least couldn't you take the money and put it in the bank where I could have taken the money on interest? Correct? Now, many of us have taken that verse very literally and taken all our money and parked it in the bank. Why? At least we can get interest. And we are also so happy that it is central government guaranteed, RBI is as a watchdog taking care of it, and you know whenever you need, you can just call the bank or go to the bank and break the FD. You have to start looking at assets from two important perspectives. Number one, what is the minimum return that the general market is giving me? For example, FD becomes your minimum return. Am I in that minimum return earning what I'm supposed to get? Number two, am I making real money net of expenses, which is inflation and taxes? So we'll ask somebody at the back there, what is the good FD rate now for 1 year? 7.58, you're accurate to the second decimal. So let's take 7.58 and let's take something, an easy number, let's take 8%. Correct? Now if I take 8%, first and foremost, I should adjust that for, what is the inflation today? Anybody has got a clue of what is the inflation today? So the government published number is 6.5. But remember, that's an aggregate number. Real estate, not included. So many of the things that you and I consume on a daily basis, not included in that index. It's an index made in the 1970s and the 80s. And that too, government did a monumental thing for moving from wholesale price index to retail price index, what we face. Also, fresh fruits and vegetables are not included in the inflation index. If you add them, your inflation that what you and I face will be more or less like 10%. Now, you're very happy, your money is safe in the bank, growing at 8%. What you not know is inflation is making your money depreciate by 10%. So you have 100 rupees earning you 8 rupees, but there's a 10 rupee fall in the value of the money just because of inflation. So instead of earning 8%, because of inflation, you go to minus 2%. Now people are shocked when I tell them this, that actually in FD you lose money. Now, again, FD is interest bearing. For interest bearing, if it's more than 10,000 rupees, now section 80 TTA says up to 10,000 rupees of interest earned on FD is tax free. More than that, you have to pay taxes. Anybody knows what's the taxes on the FD? It's on a slab rate, 10, 20 or 30. Even if you're paying 20%, that means you take 8%, 20% on 8%, 1.6% goes only on taxes. So you thought you're getting 8, but now you're only getting 6.4 or 6.5. On 6.5, your inflation is 10. Now, how much is our actual money? Minus 3.5. Now, let me just take you in time to explain to you. In a 1 year, you don't feel the pinch. In 2 years, you don't feel the pinch. Suddenly in 5 years, suddenly in 10 years, suddenly you're in your late 40s and early 50s, you'll wonder, why is everybody becoming rich and I'm still middle class or lower middle class? The reason is, when you keep money in FD for 10 years, assuming you took 100 rupees, the 100 rupees has become 200 rupees. You're very happy you doubled your money in FD. But the 100 rupee value is become 400 rupees. Now when things are 400 rupees, you have only 200 rupees, you're affording over 50% less. And I've used simple numbers. I've not complicated anything over here. Inflation is growing higher, taxes are real, and TDS happens in the bank account without your knowledge. When an interest is paid, until unless you give a form 15H, all of us know taxes are cut and only then given. A mandatory 10% tax is cut. Most people are not able to put this 2 and 2 together. FD minus tax minus inflation, am I making money? Now then there's another community says, Santosh, I never touch FD, I'm only into real estate. Real estate is good, but most of us, we buy an apartment in the city where the price is already appreciated and said, I made a good real estate investment. When it's a fully mature investment with very little growth prospects. What is real estate? You go to a place and buy the land where there is scope for appreciation, scope for development. Why did Bangalore real estate appreciate so much? Because the city developed. You can't go into a developed city and buy real estate and hope to make multiplier benefit. It doesn't happen. You have to go to the outskirts, you have to find land, you have to ensure it's legally correct, get a lawyer, get all these things done, and you know it's not easy. And today, for most of the younger generation, they don't want that. What do they want? I want a prestige apartment on MG Road, I want a brigade apartment in some part of Kormangala, I'm happy. And they hope that like how our elders and seniors made money in real estate, we will make money. It's not going to happen because you got limited potential for growth. Then people say, okay, Santosh, what are you advocating? Should we put all our money in the stock market? There again, though stock market is a great place to make money. And let me, in the church context, share something with you. Please remove that myth and fear that stock market is a gambler's den. It is not. Stock market is a marketplace, just like your Amazon or Flipkart is a marketplace for people who have savings and investments to give it to businesses which are good, which are run by good management and have the potential to generate a profit where you don't have to be involved. Right? If, for example, we have somebody here who's running a business and I know their business is doing well, I don't have to figure out, can I be competition to him or can I run a business like him? I can go and request him and say, sir, is it possible that I can be a partner with you? Can I give you some bit of my money and make your business grow? Now, if your business grows, my money also grows, because when business grows, profitability grows. The stock market is a vehicle where you and I can access businesses that already have a track record of management, product, business, and don't forget profitability. And they also give you dividends. So our job is to figure out what are the avenues available. Now these avenues become assets. Now within the assets, please remember one thing, not all of them are same. I'm going to rush through 1 or 2 slides to explain to you about so we have taken some 5-6 assets. We have taken Sensex, which is the stock market. We've taken public provident fund. We've taken gold. We've taken FD. We've taken real estate. We've taken savings account. This data is a little old, but still relevant. Go back, go forward. Now, all of these, a lakh of rupees invested would have appreciated to different levels. Savings account 1.7 lakh, FD 2.8 lakh, PPF 3 lakh, real estate 4 lakhs, gold 5.5 lakhs, and stock markets 8 lakhs. Now, this is only the returns that we would have made. We have to now add to this inflation. Before you go there, on a 10-15 years, anybody has got an idea how much money gets depreciated only on inflation? Any rough number? So make your money grow zero. But what we have done is to make all of you feel a little better, we have taken 5% and multiplied it to show you that at a simple 4-5% growth, over a 15-year period, the least the money will, it depreciates beyond 100 by the way, 65% of your money is gone. So let's put the next slide. So the savings account, what you think is positive, it's not even kept in value over time. It's not zero, actually it's negative. It eats up into a value of my money. At FD, even there it's negative. Remember, I've not taken taxes into consideration over here. Now when you look at this, what it tells you is that it's not about how much money you made. It's how much money you have made post-inflation, post-taxes. Now let me give you this example of inflation and zero inflation. Assuming that today was the year 2014, 10 years ago. And Achan was very kind to give me 1 lakh and let's say Mr. Mani Samuel 1 lakh. Now you gave me 1 lakh, I'm so happy, I go home and hide it in my cupboard. I have not spent, I'm not a spendthrift. On a Saturday evening, I'm not motivated to go to Brigade Road or Church Street and spend that money, but I took the money, safely kept it in my Godrej Almara and locked it. Now by most standards, you'll say, Santosh, you're a good guy. You took the money and safely kept it in the cupboard. But let's say Mr. Money goes and says, okay, no, he's given me the money. Let me use this as my seed capital and do something. Now there are good chances this business may be a failure and you'll say, why you blew up that money. But assuming he did well and 10 years later, we look at my 1 lakh being 1 lakh. Nothing happened. His 1 lakh becoming, let's say, 5 lakhs. Now, my 1 lakh today is worth way lesser than the 1 lakh in 2014. Number 2, because I did nothing with it, his 1 lakh has become 5 lakhs. Now, between the two of us, both of us have money. I have 1 lakh, he's got 5 lakhs. We suddenly now become rich and poor. I am poor because I have only 1 lakh. He's rich because he's got 5 lakhs. Now multiply this number to whatever net worth and numbers that you want. Many of us don't realize because of a lack of information and the quality of decisions we make, we actually become poor. Or we have the ability to change our socio-economic status to become comfortable or rich. Just by understanding how money works and how we are able to invest in the right assets. Sandeep will just forward. So I want to go forward. Go forward still. No, still. Yeah, so we'll stop it here. And I want to help you understand that while we're speaking about money and assets, I'm quickly giving you this as a ready reckoner for anybody to say, how does one be a good investor? First and foremost, whenever you invest, understand there is a risk involved. Now, for the people who thought, if I keep cash in my house, there's no risk involved, we saw what happened in 2016 with demonetization. For those of you who thought cash is king, you lost your kingdom. Because you don't know where risk will come from. And if you think that an FD is safe, we've already seen in the last 10-15 years how many banks have gone under. Right? Today people have gone to the extent of breaking FDs to many banks because only certain FD is guaranteed in each bank. Risk is all prevalent. You have to be aware in the decision making. Yes, when I do something with the money, it is risky. But having said that, the next immediate step that follows when you take risk is you're rewarded. Now, assuming all of us want to be entrepreneur in some way or the other, when we go to invest our money in business, we have almost an equal chance of making our money or losing money. You can't just stay away from doing what you want to do because you have a fear of losing money. You know there are risks. That's why we take what we call calculated risks, or we take contained risk, or we figure out how we can reduce risk, or how we can change our expectation towards risk. Or we'll ask people advice, how I cannot be a failure. Can you please help me to be successful? The decisions that you take of managing risk, mitigating risk, adjusting for risk leads you to the next step of how much money you will make. Let's be honest with ourselves. Most of us do not get rewarded for money because we are not willing to take the risk. It may be investing, it may be starting a business, it could be doing something with your money. The lack of inertia to do something with your money is actually the reason that's holding you back. And if you ask people why you didn't do anything with the money, no, there's no need to gamble, there's no need to take risk. I'm happy with savings account. I'm happy even if savings account gives me only 2% return. I want my money to be safe. Now, while you say you want your money to be safe, slowly, steadily, over time, the value of your money is shrinking without your knowledge. You're actually more exposed to risk of loss of money than actually doing something with your money. Now, when you go to the third part, you have to understand that this risk and reward is actually can also be measured in the time frame. Now, if you want to start a business, you need 3, 5, 10 years to prove yourself that business can be successful. You ask any successful businessman, they will tell you, you can be an overnight success after 20 years of hard work. You need the 10, 15, 20, 25 years. Today, thanks to Bangalore being again a startup culture, everybody wants to know in 10, 12 months, have you touched MVP? Have you made profits? Have you raised 2 rounds of funding? And have you cashed out? Those may work for a short period of time. See, today when I met with you, when I meet with you and you meet with me, we may be happy for 5-10 minutes. But if you want to be happy, we need to do some things that are worthy, income generating, profit generating. Because the truth is this, even if you run a restaurant and give people free food, it's not going to be sustainable. Even if you charge more, it's not going to be sustainable. If you charge less, it's not going to be sustainable. Something has to work over time profitably. So the fourth aspect is liquidity. This is something that some of us so fixated with liquidity that we forget that lack of liquidity makes us money. Why we are in savings account and FD? Oh, whenever I want, I can take money. Why we are only in gold? Oh, middle of the night I can go, my neighbor will give me money for gold. What we do, we are bargaining in our money. We want high liquidity, but we compromise on high growth. Most of the people who make high growth, high returns are people who are willing to be patient, give it time and make money. Now, if you see most of the super affluent in Bangalore, I can safely say 90% of the people are rich because of their grandfather's investments. Agree, disagree? Most of the grandfathers bought real estate. Even in their times it was expensive. Even in their times it was legally difficult to buy. But because they bought, and thanks to 20, 30, 40 years, today their children or grandchildren can enjoy the best of the luxuries because of the time-based massive appreciation of their assets. But today, we want to buy today and next day morning wonder, is my investment gone up? Is my real estate appreciated? Why is my business not doing well? Even for entrepreneurs, the people who start business, they say, if you can survive 3 years, you can survive 10 years. If you can survive 10 years, you'll survive 40 years. And if a business can survive 40 years, you can survive 100 years. Problem is, people are not willing to see through 12 months. Why? Maybe their business plan is not good. They have not factored in for the unforeseen, the known knowns, the unknown unknown, because they all want to have short time, short liquidity. The minute you have time, which is an essential element for investing and liquidity, you're giving yourself chance to make more money. Size of your investment and execution, management, customization, these are step-by-step aspects of how money can be managed. We spoke about being stewardship about money, right? These are the characteristics that tell you how each and every element here helps you become a better stewardship of money. Now, for some of us, even to execute that plan, you need someone to help you. Now, as intelligent as we are, as hardworking as we are, as penny pinching as we are, these are all good virtues, good traits of a good money manager, but good traits of managing money. But we are not willing to figure out, can I seek external help? You know why? We don't want other people to know how much money I have. You can do so much better with your money if only you sought help. But in execution we fail. We have all the right ideas. We know what will make our money grow. But we're not interested to tell, can I get help from you of how to make my money grow? Now, we all know the famous Wipro story, Infosys story. Why people didn't participate in Wipro Infosys being in Bangalore was they were scared to go and apply for an IPO. They were scared to go and open a demat account or buy shares. Why? They didn't want to ask somebody, hey, I have money, how can I save it? They only wanted to do what they were comfortable and familiar. So when you manage money and when you want to make your money grow, sometimes it's a very uncomfortable thing to even discuss money with people that have the potential to help you to make your money grow. Remember, these are things that help you become better stewards of making money. I want to stress on this formula, and especially if you want to take a photo of this or want me to share this presentation with you, there cannot be a more better truth than this in terms of our money. The primary currency of making money grow is with the money that you already have, not with the money that you're going to get. Most people think increase in income, some lottery, some inheritance is going to make them rich, without forgetting the primary aspect, what I have is enough to make it grow. So the challenge that we have in today's world, income minus all my expenses, I will save the remaining. You're beginning on a wrong footing. It should be income, first savings, and then I will spend with the leftover. If all of us were to change our pattern to just the second correct equation, most of our money problems will get solved. Second, if you don't save, you don't have money. You are starting at ground zero. But if you save, you now can invest, you now can do whatever you want because now you've got savings. It's very simple. If I am a salaried guy, a 10% saving from my take-home salary in 10 months is equal to 1 month's whole salary. In about few years, I've saved up my 1 year's salary. In a few more years, I have the luxury to retire early, only in my savings because of only 10% saving on my salary. Now, I'll further add, if you can take the 10% and invest it into any asset that you believe can beat inflation, can participate in growth, can be tax efficient, you will not only become a multi-millionaire, but you'll also have what we call transgenerational wealth. See, some of us are so myopic and so self-centered, you want to be happy for money for you. But if money is well managed as a good steward, it is by default a transgenerational wealth. I think Proverbs in 18 or 19 says, houses and wealth are inherited from parents. Because if parents do the right job of investing an asset, it becomes a default base and an inheritance for children that they don't have to struggle as much as we struggle, or you're teaching them how to be better stewards of money. Now, that is what transgenerational wealth is. Sandeep, just go ahead. What makes us wealthy? Income makes us wealthy. That is the primary card. Second thing is business. Third is most of us are waiting for inheritance, and some of us are waiting for a fancy asset class called Bitcoin to make us wealthy. You know, the story is if I'd bought Bitcoin 7 years ago, today I'd have been a multi-millionaire. All of us are looking for the short, quick, easy, immediate way. Like instant coffee and instant Zepto and instant Swiggy, where you swipe right, swipe left, everything comes on you. We have somewhere got that culture mixed up to say, I can become rich overnight. The simpler way, if you can convert your income to assets which produce wealth, and if you can convert your wealth to give an income which you can in turn create assets, you will always be rich. I'll repeat this. if you can get your income to generate assets and wealth, or if you have wealth and you can generate an income to buy more assets, you will never get poor. Assuming that today in Bangalore you get somebody who is not well-to-do and you give them a gift of 1 crore or 5 crores. Now if those people don't have an active income, that money will get over one day. On the other side, you give somebody a good income generating source, and if that fellow is going to use the equation we used, income minus savings is equal to expenses, not only will he have money, he will build wealth, and that wealth will build more wealth for him. So the unending cycle for someone to be wealthy is, ask yourself, whatever I am earning, is it producing wealth? Or whatever wealth I have, is it producing income? And if you can get the chain flowing, you will never become poor. I'll quickly run to the next slide and I'll end with that. Go that insurance one. No, next. No, next. Next. Yeah. Now, I'll pause here to my ending because most people get confused with insurance and investments and insurance and assets and insurance and money. So I have added this as a part of what I share with people. Insurance is not to make money. So if any one of you think that you got insurance plans and you're rich, please take that notion out of your mind. Insurance is not to make you rich. Insurance is to avoid you or your family from becoming poor in the event of a life risk or a health risk. Now, this is one of the sad realities of American marketing. Life insurance should originally be called death insurance. Health insurance should originally be called disease insurance. Because a health insurance will work only when you're not healthy. When you have sickness, disease, illness. A life insurance should work only when you are not there, to give your family the sustenance to take care when the breadwinner is not there or the wage earner is not there. But today, you know what people say? Oh, I'm earning well, I have life insurance policies. Life insurance policies are not to make you rich. At best, they are to avoid you becoming poor. You know, today we all know the medical costs. Even if I'm earning only 25,000 rupees monthly salary, but if I can buy a 5 lakh rupee health cover, it stops me from spending lakhs of rupees in the hospital bills. Now what will happen if people cannot afford hospital bill? They will borrow, they will use credit card, or they have to sell assets that they have to fund a hospital bill. This is the reality. There are many people who become poor because of one illness, one sickness, and one disease. Insurance, I repeat, is not wealth creation, is not to make you rich. On the other hand, you have to be very careful what premiums you pay, because everybody out there, from the bank to the not so trusted insurance agent, is out there to take money from you because it serves their interest, not to make you rich, but to make themselves rich. Insurance is to protect you from a loss. Understand, investment is to make you money. Insurance is to protect your money. The minute you learn this, you will be extremely savvy and you already are in the right method to make money. We have one more last slide. Next. Go back now. Now I'll stop this and say, with this slide we come to an end, what to avoid. Credit cards are great tools. What are credit cards? They are payment mechanisms. What are credit cards? They are personal loans on demand on your credit card. It doesn't mean somebody else is giving you free money and you're happy to go keep swiping everywhere and then wonder, where did I swipe? When do I pay the money? Use it for what they were meant. They are a payment mechanism. Yes, there's convenient. Some of the international transactions now without credit card you can't use. But be disciplined to pay it back. Second, check for all expenses and figure out where can I cut expenses. We in India have got a beautiful coinage for this. Rupee saved is a rupee earned. If you can cut an expense, it's equivalent to a new income. Some of us don't know how many internet connections we have in our house. So many of us don't know how many, what is that called? Netflix, ZTV. I don't even know because I have none of it at my house. But you don't know how many that OTT platforms you have. You ask why? You know, that movie comes in that TV, this series comes in that, and you would have watched it once. But every month from your credit card, the money is getting cut and gone. I'm sure if today some of you go back and check, you would also realize that 1 or 2 bills are happening even without your knowledge. Cut it. It may be looking like we are poverty mentality or penny pinching, it's still valuable money saved. So even going out and eating, you decide every Saturday night with family I'm going to go out. And you decide the place before. Now when you don't decide, you don't know where to go, then you'll most probably end up in the most expensive place, eating the most expensive food and paying the most expensive bill. Even things like eating out, travel, if planned early, if booked early, same thing can be done at a more optimal cost. So what we are saying is, we're not saying don't live without expenses. Be mindful of the expenses, because these are things that leak the ship. It's like having a hole on the ship. Keep the money tight. Spend. As much as you earn well, invest well, spend well, create a balance that you can enjoy with the resources and the assets God has given. Please do not postpone. I think many people are susceptible to this. We think tomorrow is a good day. Now what will happen? We are on a Saturday. Tomorrow is a Sunday. No, Monday is a good day. I'm going to take my decision on Monday. Or you know what? Anyway, we are in April, month end. I'll take from 1st May. Or you'll say, you know what? This is first quarter. I'll let it go. I'll start from 1st June. So we have this ability to just conveniently postpone things. And the last one is that we are all biased. Oh, Santosh Invest is lucky to make money, but I am not at all lucky. Whatever I've done, I've never made money. On the other hand, some of the people are so overconfident. If I put money, even if Santosh can't make money, I can make money. Avoid these biases, because the investment subject doesn't know whose money it is. It could be Achan, it could be you, it could be me. If we invest and we are willing to heed to the characteristic of risk, reward, time and liquidity, you will make your money. When you buy a share, when you make an FD, when you buy an insurance, the company doesn't know who you are. Your decision matters, and you will reap the benefit of the decision that you made. So the last slide, not that after the graph, the next one. I'm going to end with this to say that the best time you can take stock of your money, the decisions you take with your money, and the changes that you want to bring about your money is not tomorrow, is not another day. The best day is today. The best day is now. Don't make it one day. Start with today being your day one. Whatever small decision and changes that you want to make, the fact that money can be grown, the fact that inflation can be curtailed back, the fact that taxes are real, if we begin to understand this, automatically we become better stewards, better managers of the resources and the money that God has given. So we sometimes even blame it on God, saying God didn't bless me, God didn't give me. If we are good stewards and managers of resources, to Him that is good in little, more will be given, because it's not that you will be given more because you need it. It's because if you can manage little, you'll be successful in managing even in a lot. Now remember, if someone cannot manage little, believe me, they can't manage more also. So begin with what little that you have. There is no such number as his money is more, my money is less, so I won't pay attention to my money. All the money is important. It's our job to make it grow. Right? See, when you look at some of us who went to school and college, we all went to the same school and college. Why are some at the top of the game and why some at the bottom of the game? Even though we went to the same education, is because some of us tried to capitalize on the opportunities that were given. Some of us just didn't. We made excuses, we made stories, we said, I didn't want to take a risk. I chose a government job than doing a business. I chose to be in Bangalore rather than go to America back in the day. So we can give excuses all our life, but money or even the opportunities that come our way are all waiting for us to better manage them. So on that note, I want to stop. Thank you for being such a patient and appreciating audience. Thank you, sir, and thank you, sir, for the opportunity. I hope that it's a great opportunity for you to take stock of your money and make some decisions. Thank you.
Few questions. Few questions.
Yes, I'm sorry, I forgot to ask if anybody's got questions.
Santosh, this question is what you mentioned about Bitcoin. What is your view on trading in Bitcoin as on today?
Sir, I have not changed my view for almost 10 years in trading of Bitcoin. Having said that, I have got it right 2-3 times, I've got it wrong 2-3 times, but my view has not changed. My view is stay away from Bitcoin as far as possible And for 2-3 times when Bitcoin was going down, it looked like I was right. And for many times when Bitcoin was going up, I was wrong, because people say, Santosh, if I had not listened to you and bought Bitcoin, I'd have made a lot of money. And sometimes when Bitcoin went down, this is not bad, Santosh, you're a good guy. You saved me from losing money. See, you have to understand it from 2-3 aspects. Number one, the safety and stability of Bitcoin is still not established. For some reason, I say Bitcoin is a good investment. Does anybody know how to invest in Bitcoin? You have to still use a backdoor entry to take your money, use a wallet, transfer the money outside the country into another wallet, and use that wallet to buy Bitcoin. Another part, in how many parts of the world have they legalized Bitcoin? Even America, though they're using it as a parallel, it's not recognized as a Bitcoin. Lastly, I'll share something with you. You take any note that you have, whether in America or whether in India, it is the central bank and the government that backs the central bank that lends credence to the value of money. Who is backing Bitcoin? It's a piece of technology, tokenized, appreciating because more people want to buy it. It's called the greater fool theory or the Ponzi scheme. That is how, it's the front of a Ponzi or a front of a greater fool theory. Now please, after I say this, if tomorrow Bitcoin becomes double, don't say again Santosh was wrong. I told you my view. There are no characteristics of a fundamental activity around Bitcoin. That is my problem. See, I'm not coming from a gambling mindset. I'm coming from a fundamental mindset of, is your money safe and stable? I don't feel so. I don't think so. There's no evidence whatsoever to prove it means so. Let me give you an example. In the 16th century, a tulip bulb in Amsterdam was trading for millions of dollars. That was a new currency back then. It's called the tulip bubble theory. That time, to buy a tulip was equivalent to buying a 5-acre home in New York. People thought tulip prices will never crash. And when it crashed from a few $100 or whatever that Amsterdam currency was, it came down to like less than 10 cents a tulip bulb. So it's not that we've not seen this kind of mad blowouts in prices of fancy things. You have to be very careful, because when this blows out, you have no recourse.
Which is the best low-cost index fund to invest in?
All index funds are low cost only. So what does index fund means? I do not know what stock is good or what stock is bad. There is an index called, let's say, Nifty or Sensex. Because you do not know which stock to pick in it, you will buy the whole index. Most of them are cheap and most of them are low. As long as you buy it, you will make your money. There's no debate in which is which. Any brand doesn't make sense, because brands are only offering it to you. The index is prefixed. The stocks are prefixed. The performance also is fixed to what the index will perform. And even in terms of cost, more or less are by and large similar, because you can't charge fees for these index funds, because there's no job to be done there. In fact, even if I want tomorrow, I can launch an index funds, and because nothing to, I've just had to mirror it. The most important part here is it helps you in case you do not know what decision to make, at least to be a pseudo investor by being in an index fund, right? Today Nifty has got 50 stocks, the top 50 best stocks in the country. Now when you do not know what to pick in the 50, the index fund says buy all the 50. Don't buy the needle in the haystack, buy the haystack itself. So that's the concept of the index funds or ETFs. It's for people who do not know what decision to make, and the costs are always low, so no need to worry about it.
Thank you.
How do you decide which investment advisor to trust in?
Yeah, that's a very good point. So this is a question that's come, this is a question that's come to me many times. See, some people have this fear of managing their money simply because on one hand they know they can't manage it themselves, on the other hand they can't go to a second, third party and expose it to themselves, to somebody that they do not know. Now, before this, I must share a joke which came 2-3 days ago on on I think Twitter, which is X. They're saying investment is all about luck. So you should be lucky to find an advisor. So, so in this context, I think there are few simple things. First things is the number of years the person has done this business. Now, we all know if you are going to look at somebody, either a lawyer or a doctor or any of these specific skill, the number of years in business means you've seen the cycles, the ups and downs of the market. Number two, it also means you're able to navigate that time period with the clients that you have managed. A reasonable amount of time spent by the person you're dealing with, they're at some level where they worked, their job, their education. At third level is the scale and the kind of clients they manage. If you normally see these 2-3 things in sync with your personal psyche, then you have a friend for life. Very valid point. Sometimes we think that if a guy is extremely qualified, working for a large organization, he's good. The technical part you have solved, maybe very well qualified, maybe working for a large organization. The subtle part is, does he fit the bill for me? This is why many people, I'm sorry to say this because I also worked in a bank, they blindly trust the people at the bank and more often get hit very badly. In fact, one of the reasons why I quit to start my practice is that I was a banker and I knew what our management at the bank pushes us to do. See, I have to just share something with you. When you have an account with any of the bank, please remember they don't look at you as a person. They look at you as, what is his bank balance? How much revenue am I earning? Is he making profit for me or is he making loss for me? Classic example, why did Citibank decide to leave retail bank in India? They said, we are not making money, I want to leave and go. And what did they do? They didn't just leave and go. They sold all the accounts to Axis Bank. So please remember, there is no free lunch. But in this scope of no free lunch, if you're able to find somebody that matches with what you have in mind and your ethos. So this week alone, I met 2 or 3 new people that for the first time they were meeting with me, though there was references, though there was friends. I always tell them, please take a couple of days to figure out, am I the right person to manage your money in terms of, do you get that mental peace of mind? If you get that mental peace of mind, usually an advisor is a friend for you for life. See, remember, advisor is the only one who's wanting your good wishes. A lawyer wants you in trouble, a doctor wants you sick, everybody wants you in trouble, but an advisor wants to make your money grow. So, take effort to find a guy. Meet 2-3 people, you'll get your answer. I think the minute you meet 3 people and spend 5-10 minutes with them, you'll know who you want. It's an important decision. So, what is?
So Santosh has given us a very concentrated kashayam. I don't know how much we can digest or how much we can absorb. Anyway, thank you very much. It was very, very, very revealing and enlightening. Many of the things you told was really known to us, or at least known to me, and a different approach to the management of money. So thank you very much for taking time and coming, and we really appreciate your talk. Please join us for tea.